This third video in the Surviving Mold series is presented by Richie C. Shoemaker, MD, on building health. Are there measurements that can confirm that a building is safe for me? Can I rely on air samples alone? Are results of total mold indoors versus total mold outdoors meaningful?
One of the issues that we have to approach first in the approach to diagnosis of a chronic inflammatory response syndrome, which could be caused by exposure to the interior environment of a water-damaged building, is how do I know the building is water damaged? Over the years, there's been an evolution of thought. As we've learned more about different kinds of measurements, we know that a lot of the ideas from the old are just no good and need to be thrown away. Specifically, looking at air sampling or spore trapping is not just a waste of time, it's a waste of money as well. What we want to know, are there particular kinds of fungi within, say, a group of Aspergillus or Penicillium that are known to be more harmful than others? Air sampling cannot make that distinction. We want to know if an organism like Wallemia, that loves to be in air conditioning systems and heating ductwork and flexible fiberglass piping that might be in a crawl space, is that present or not? It certainly is one very high on the list of things that make people sick, and yet air sampling will never tell us. The World Health Organization in 2009 said if you want to use air samples, you have to have multiple samples from the same room at multiple times of the day, multiple days of the week, and multiple weeks of the month. No one has the ability to stay in a room sampling constantly, so we've got to rely on an overall measurement. That measurement, fortunately, was found by the EPA in 2006 to lie in the DNA of specific molds found in settled dust. In 2006, the EPA looked at 1,000 homes across the country, decided to divide the homes into water damaged or not by mechanisms they had at the time, and found 26 species that were markers for wet buildings, or group 1, and 10 were markers of non-wet buildings, or group 2. The measurement that we call ERMI has been used for homes. It's applied to schools and workplaces less commonly, but unfortunately it just has too many false positives. Out of the ERMI comes a derivative using the 5 species most commonly associated with sick people that gave rise to the index developed in 2011 called HERTSMI 2. This health effects roster of type-specific formers of mycotoxins and inflammagens, the second version, is incredibly precise, inexpensive, and available from Mycometrics. For the record, I have no conflicts of interest to disclose with Mycometrics. When we looked comparing ERMI to HERTSMI 2, recently in January of 2014, we knew that we had 297 buildings where patients who had been sickened previously by exposure to molds were not made ill with re-exposure. HERTSMI 2 identified 295 of the 297 people saying they're going to be safe. ERMI, unfortunately, falsely said that 161 people were going to be sickened. Similarly, when we looked at buildings that we knew made people sick, looking just at human health, ERMI now was excellent, only missing 14 of 381. But when we looked at HERTSMI 2, we only missed 5 of 509. What does this mean? It means that the state-of-the-art is the least expensive and most effective way to sample buildings. We no longer have to guess. We no longer have to rely on outdated methods. Since we can reduce the scope of inquiry to fungal DNA, we can tell within a minute, looking at a $125 test, whether a building is safe or not. You can find more about HERTSMI 2 on the Surviving Mold website.